Well, they surely say that fighting fire with fire is one of the most efficient ways to go around that, especially when you need to, control some kind of, firestorm, in this case from the media. But we are talking about bullying, and it's not like you can fight bullying with more bullying, or at least that's not the approach that I think that will be the most efficient. But I think Meghan has thought about fighting bullying allegations, claiming again, I don't know which time is this, that she was bullied. And of course, that it's so important how you frame yourself. It cannot be a regular interview that she can do this, because first of all, I don't think anybody in Hollywood or in the media wants to interview Meghan right now. They already know how it went with Oprah, and Oprah must have phoned everyone everywhere and warned them about what can happen if you dare to interview Meghan. That's one thing. But the other thing is that I don't think anybody is going to believe her in that regard. So to be able to present her case of bullying, Duchess of Sussex tells girls she was one of the most bullied people in the world. Yeah, this is the most bullied. This is not, and we're not talking about, the most bullied in my school or in my neighborhood. No, we have to say the world, because as soon as we get to Mars, she's going to say from the solar system. I could understand that. I have those aspirations as well. And Meghan wants to expand that bullying allegations to the entire solar system. But Meghan has previously spoken about bullying and abuse she received on social media during her pregnancies. And it was from Victoria Ward for The Telegraph. And that's why she is taking those pictures with that attitude, which is a bit odd. Meghan's face is always interesting in these situations, like she trying to act like a regular, normal human being. And in this case, I'm pleased to say, that I used to grab the pencils and pens just like Meghan does, with the index finger on top. But no, I corrected myself. Now I use the pen and pencil like a normal human being. But I'm not criticizing anybody. But maybe you use the pen or pencil like this. Maybe Meghan was about to write, or she had already written something in her, her special calligraphy. Oh, and they were eating popcorn. That's so relatable. That is the idea. She wanted to look relatable to, drive the point home that she was bullied as a girl, as a teen. And she joined the group of tweens or under 13s to discuss a new US-based digital wellness program co-funded by the Sausages Archwell Foundation. And I'm going to repeat that because one has to be fair. These initiatives are important because with more and more frequency, children are getting their hands on social media way too early. I think that nobody should be in social media any earlier than being 16 or maybe even 18 because, the landscape in social media can be really toxic. And no, a tween or a child doesn't have the emotional tools to deal with all that. And Larissa May, founder of campaign group Half the Story, told Vanity Fair, we did an activity where we talked about a bunch of scenarios. I hope that Meghan did not elaborate on any scenarios of her own experience, if you know what I mean. And Meghan talked about being one of the most bullied people in the world. We have girls wave these little emoji signs and talk about how each one of these scenarios would have impacted them emotionally. I wonder how many of the girls gifted Meghan with the poop emoji. That's something that is not disclosed. I tried to check the article for that, but that was not disclosed. Archwell has joined forces with Pivotal, a philanthropic organization founded by Melinda Gates, and the Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation. You remember that Melinda Gates was heavy into these initiatives to fund the expansion of the program called Social Media EU. To highlight the initiative, the Duchess joined what was described as screen-free afternoon of games. In general, I think that children should be screen-free. The problem is that screens and iPads and all these devices are the modern-day nannies. The parents just say, "Hi, we need some moment of privacy or some moment of peace," and they just put an iPad with from an early age with this. This is stuff like Coco Melon. I don't know if you have heard about Coco Melon. That is like crack. That is like crack on a screen. And I'm not going to say who that is directed for because I'm going to get this video flagged. But that is effectively the effect it has on children's brain. They have to be careful about that. Everybody has to be careful, and that's a problem. That is the speed that we live nowadays. And well, Meghan is, I would say, that jumping on that bandwagon, and especially, more importantly, making sure that she claims that she was bullied into, well, the stratosphere. We're talking about space, because that's one way you begin to cleaning up her name, if that's possible, especially after that the Hollywood Reporter article. We were the best way, and do you see that? Oh, Meghan is so nice with the girls and stuff. The Duchess has spoken previously about how the majority of the bullying and abuse she received on social media took place during her pregnancies with her children, Archie and Lily. And that, of course, she has to emphasize that. She has to be very clear about that because, of course, being pregnant is a vulnerable moment for any woman, and well, she's taking advantage. She is not gonna say, "Oh no, I was bullied when I was Harry's girlfriend." You know, when Harry forced the firm to issue some kind of was this as the comunicado, this what well, yeah, say something about the bullying that Meghan was suffering by the media, which I think was necessary, something that every single person suffers when you are at that level of fame. That's something that is going to happen. I'm not going to say that racism doesn't exist. It does exist, but as usual, I've always told everyone, including Meghan, one thing that you can really use is just close the laptop. That helps a lot. That helps immensely. And if you're dating royal like Harry, that you know that these things are going to happen. It's not like they haven't happened before in other eras, especially Meghan, who has thoroughly studied the lives of royals, of Lady Di, and everyone in that regard. So that is something that she's using right now to be, let's see, consider for some kind of comeback. But last month, Prince Harry gave a passionate speech at the Clinton Global Initiative in New York. Oh, that should have been Meghan. That should have been Meghan. I don't know why Harry is still in the headlines from Meghan. That is so selfish from him. That is toxic masculinity. He's taking the headlines away from Meghan. Oh, my lucky screen is a picture of my kids. What's yours? Well, whatever, man. Whatever floats your boat. So, keeps talking about the bullying complaints, and this is it. This is why Meghan does this. She wants to make it seem that, okay, she's just could be a quirky boss sometimes, maybe could be demanding, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, when or if this really takes fire, and we're talking about fire at the start of this video, perhaps the explanation would be, well, but there are so many manipulative or strong bosses out there that were successful, and someone is going to mention Steve Jobs. Yeah, Steve Jobs was a jerk in so many instances. There are enough records of that. But at the same time, he got a lot done. But maybe some of you are watching this video in an Apple device, so maybe the end justifies the means. But what has Meghan achieved by now? What has Archwell achieved by now? What has Netflix with the super mega contract achieved by now? I don't know, but we will be there, and rest assured there will be a strong source of memes whenever whatever they are doing finally sees the light of day. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. I have begun to write daily emails, so you will receive my daily emails that way. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Much love and bliss.